Howdy, sir.
Welcome back. It's so good to be back.
I know
I
it
know
is.
we've done some little things over that time period, but obviously they wasn't very good. Um, so we apologise for that.
Yeah, we tried to do Restream a couple weeks ago, and it just
Yeah, it went
yeah,
off about
that's the noise it
55.
made.
It was terrible, yeah. And then
It
even when
wasn't.
we did get it up, it looked shite. But we apologise for that. But we're back now, ladies and gentlemen,
We are.
and
It's
we're
so
going to
good to
full
be
steam
back.
ahead.
Full steam ahead. I
So
like it.
Tyler,
Yes,
what have you been up to?
Darren. Nothing really, man. Just
Oh,
hanging
nothing. I
out.
only went to
No,
Gettysburg. I
no.
only
Only went
spoke
to
with a tattooed
Gettysburg.
historian.
Nah, man, we've had a lot going on this last week. It's been pretty cool, actually. So I got a few things I got to do for the first time. Tazbo, welcome on to the stream there. See you over there on Twitch. Thank you for joining. And for those that are just now tuning in, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook again, and if you're watching on Twitch, thank you guys for joining an episode of Unfiltered Conversations with Daz and Ty. Back to what I was doing this week, though. So Monday, I spoke to the Rappahannock Valley Civil War Roundtable, and oh man, that was a hell of an experience, and I'm so glad I had the opportunity to do that. I got to present on Emory Upton, who I've been studying for quite some time, and it's funny, Darren. As I was going to the event to speak, I kind of scrapped the entire idea of what I had in mind when I went to go present, and kind of was just like, all right, you know what? I don't even want to do this anymore. I want to do it my way. I want to have this new approach and kind of a wing it approach to this talk I was doing on Upton, and it worked tremendously. Just
So did you
exponentially
have it?
better.
Did you have stuff written down? Is that how you was going to present it? No.
I had a
So it's all
PowerPoint. I
mentally in
still,
your head.
yes,
So I've
I
got
still had a
visions of you
PowerPoint.
ripping up pieces of paper and chucking it out the window.
Metaphorical paper, absolutely. I didn't have any in front of me. But yeah, there was definitely like this idea of just let me go off. I have the ideas in my PowerPoint of what I want to say, but let's try to wing it and do something a little different than I had in mind. And again, it worked out much better in that way, in that approach, which was awesome. So I'm glad I got to do that, and it was really cool giving a talk to a roundtable. That does mean a lot to me. In fact, they were the ones that I won the intern award, the Edwin Colbar's intern award back in 2016. That allowed me to go through another internship. So of course, it was really, really, really cool to give a talk to those folks specifically. So I was very happy I got to do that. And then we go to Gettysburg on Thursday. That was fun. I see over there on Twitch, Kojak1863. What's going on, bud? He said, "What is it in England?"
What do you mean, Kojak? Could you be a bit more specific, please?
um, While I'm waiting on Kojak to respond to you there, guess I'll touch. I drove all the way up to Gettysburg to do an event with the tattooed historian. We did an event called WTF Moments of the Civil War. That was done at the Gary Owen in Gettysburg. Man, that was a fun event. And then we did something even cooler. What time
Oh,
is it?
right. So it is now actually technically Monday morning because it is midnight.
Oh,
Thank
you
you,
time
Kojak,
traveler.
for asking.
Kind of a paradox time live stream going on here. It's
Yeah.
a day ahead of us over there, and we're still in Sunday here.
It is Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Oh, that's right. Happy Father's Day, folks. But yes, Gettysburg. So John and I, after our WTF moments in the Civil War, we decided to go live in front of the McPherson barn. And that was, even both of us talked about it afterwards, that was one of the most impactful experiences of the day, I think, was being out there. Tazbo, thank you so much, man. He said both events were good. Watch both. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, we had a good time out there. I was really, really into that last one we did too with him as well. I think that was so cool to be able to have a one-on-one with our live audience there and have the folks that at home really have a chance to interact with us while we were on the battlefield in real time. You know what I mean? So like we can have a conversation just on the battlefield. And I really hope that this is something that'll be done more. I know I'm going to push for it for sure. I love being able to talk from the couch or the office desk, but I also really enjoy being able to go to the battlefield and talk to you guys because that's fun too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what we're all about, really, isn't it? And there
Oh,
will
for
be some
sure.
more of that coming, guys. So, I mean, if you guys enjoyed our Fredericksburg stuff, there is stuff coming in August. So keep tuning
Oh,
in.
my apologies. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. My apologies.
But
But yeah,
yeah, so we got loads planned, really, haven't we, in the coming months? And as you might be aware, ladies and gentlemen, the Unfiltered Historian is going to reach its milestone 1 year very soon.
that's right. July 4th, man. July
Yeah,
4th.
as I like to call it, Happy Traitors Day. You know, the day that you lot decided we don't need your money and we don't need your tea anymore. We're going to dump it in the harbour.
You have some feelings about that day. Do you want
I
to talk
do,
about it?
you know.
Yeah.
It's still a little bit raw.
Do you want to talk about it?
No,
Are you sure?
what's the matter with a king's rule?
What do you mean? What's the matter with the king's rule?
You know, no, we want to rule ourselves. No, you don't.
Yeah, we do. And
Well, you
look,
did.
yeah, we did. And look what happened.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't mess with us. We will throw your tea in the water. I
I know,
swear to
I
God, we
know.
will. You
But
know it too.
yeah. So I mean, I managed to catch your. I think both. I think you did two.
Too.
Two at the on the Gettysburg thing, didn't you?
I did.
John's
Yeah.
one
So
was
I
very
also did
interesting.
two
He spoke
unfiltered.
about like phantom limbs and stuff. I thought that was really interesting because
I
you
know
don't
that was
think
a fun
about
story.
that. I found that really fascinating.
I climbed the tower with you guys too. I remember doing that one. Thank you, Kojak. England need a holiday for George Washington.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, and it'll include a boot. Anyway, so yeah,
Uh,
so
Daz, how do they teach that history over there? Our revolution, I mean.
well, we don't.
That's a
That's
good
just it.
question.
I know
You
absolutely.
don't?
Do you know what? I don't know nothing about it apart from tea.
They don't teach you guys at all.
No, we don't want to know about George Washington.
Are you sure?
Nah.
George Washington's pretty cool, man.
All we do know is we burnt the White House down once, so you know that's always my comeback.
Thanks.
But there you
Looks
go.
like I've got another participant in the live stream here tonight too.
You have. But joking aside, I think you've got a lovely country, and I love visiting your country. So when I'm
Well,
there,
thank
just
you.
treat me nicely.
Oh, of course,
Although
that's what we
Tyler
do,
has
man.
already done that, you know, he made me buy my own mattress, and you know,
That's what we do in the U.S. of A, baby.
sorry, it's been a little while. I have to bring those jokes back up out the
I love them.
cupboards, you know.
Out of the
Sorry,
cupboards. Oh, so you were
the
storing them for
closet.
later. That's what you were doing. Okay. See, I see how
But
this works now.
anyway, going back to Gettysburg,
Sure.
um, it is such an amazing place, isn't it? And
Oh,
like,
it's an incredible place, man, and it's one
what
of
it's
those.
done is it's made me want to go back now. Thank you, Tyler. Um,
My pleasure,
so
bud.
I'm not going to be in the US very long in August, only about 5 days. But we are planning a little trip to Gettysburg, and so you are going to get all day live content from the battlefield on Gettysburg rammed down your throats.
Yep. I guess one of us is buying dinner in August. Where are we
Well,
going, Kojak?
Kojak, I
Yeah.
definitely owe Kojak some dinner anyway,
Do
because he's
you?
been a very nice person to me.
Yeah, Kojak is an awesome person. We had
And,
lunch when he
and
came
he
last
sent me
time.
a lovely gift a little while ago. So I'll thank you for that.
I can't wait to meet up with you guys. God, dude, Kojak's fun to hang out with too. I'm glad I
Yeah.
got to spend some time with him last year.
But we
He
are
gave
going
me a
to.
book that I treasure,
Mm,
"Soldiering" by Rice Bull, one of my favorite participants at the Battle of Chancellorsville. And I'm half tempted to do an episode, Darren, if you would want to maybe do one with me on that whole account, anyways. Just
I'd
Rice
love to.
Bull.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rice Bull's
Chancellorsville is one
story
of
would
my
be.
favorite
It would be
battles.
more than Chancellorsville. I would try to
Yeah.
focus more so on Rice Bull's whole wartime account. But I mean,
Hmm.
Chancellorsville obviously features heavy in that, and
Yeah.
that's what I first where I first came across Rice Bull was studying Chancellorsville.
So I mean, you know, you go through like I don't know whether you're the same as me, Tyler, but I go through like periods of different studying and reading and listening to different things, and I've sort of lately I've sort of the last week or so I've dropped off the Civil War again, you know, but sort of got back into it today. Um,
Where'd you go?
I don't know.
No,
I mean,
where
I'm
what?
still in it, you know what I mean? But at one point, I was following the Overland campaign the whole way through May, and then all of a sudden, the World War II thing that I did with a couple of other guys came up, the D-Day thing, and it just sort of dropped off the end of the earth for a little for a week or so. But then I picked up a audio book today about Abraham Lincoln's life, and I'm back into it again. So it was only for a week.
You like Lincoln, don't you?
I do. I'm a super fan.
You're a super fan of Lincoln.
I find this guy fascinating, and in actual fact, I think he is probably the most fascinating man that ever stood on this earth.
It's pretty bold.
It is, but I love the guy. I think he's
Yeah.
amazing. A just amazing person.
Okay. There's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with that. I mean, Lincoln's pretty
yeah.
rad in my book. I like Lincoln
I,
too.
I, I think he's your best ever president, and people might argue with that. Yes, there are some others out there, but he's just amazing.
Yeah.
And there you go.
No, that's awesome. That's what I like to hear, man. Lincoln's a cool dude, and I'm glad somebody likes him as much as you. And I sometimes I just find it so weird that a British folk like
Hmm.
Lincoln more than some of us do here, or
I
admire
know.
him more. So but that's okay.
But
That
then,
is
then you get some people that love Winston Churchill. Americans that love Churchill. Things like that. It's a similar situation. But yes, I remember that. Yeah,
yep, right here, man.
I do love Winston as well. But
Me too. No,
I'm really getting
not
into
as much as Terry.
studying Lincoln at the moment. And
Terry has me beat with Churchill. He loves Winston.
oh, I know, yeah. And hopefully I'll bring him over a gift, something Churchill related. But yeah.
Yeah, man. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my Wawa tea. That's something I'm gonna have to
As
get
long
you
as you're not
on.
drinking beaver's butt anymore, you'll be all right.
No, it's tea and lemonade today.
Tea and lemonade. I thought you chucked it all in the Rappahannock.
It's sweet tea, iced
Oh.
tea.
See, this is the other thing. I don't understand how you guys drink cold tea. It's
Oh,
just
it's
wrong.
so good. It's so good.
It's just not right, is it?
Nathan Provost over on Facebook. Hello, sir. Hope you're well.
Oh, hello, Nate.
Hello, Nate. Hello, mate.
Hello, my old mucker.
Sorry, Darren. I love you.
That's all right.
All right. We have over here on Twitch, Lincoln and the Fight for Peace is an excellent new book. There you go, Darren. Time to add another book to your list.
Yes, please.
What are you reading right now? Anyways, you said you have a
No, so
Lincoln.
I'm not reading anything. I'm listening to a lecture series
Okay.
by what's it called? The Great Courses.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Audible, and it's Lincoln's life, and it's that I can't remember the guy's name, but he's on all the Lincoln documentaries. He's a professor from Gettysburg University, I think. I think he's still there, and he appears on the Lincoln documentary and the Grant documentary that has
Is
recently
it
been out. He's written a book called He's written a book
The
about
Last Invasion?
yeah,
Gelzo?
Gelzo, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's lecturing this one. I also have another one in that great series. So one of them I picked up was Gary Gallagher's, and it literally is. It's about 30 hours long. This audio book.
The
Well,
Civil War
it's
one.
a lecture series, but it's called the Civil War, and
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing.
I've
If
listened to
you
that.
if you're going to get into the Civil War, this is definitely something you should listen to help you try and understand the origins of the Civil War, because he really goes
Sure.
in depth. And then he goes in depth about explaining the Civil War when it erupts, but he goes into great lengths of explaining it, the build up to it.
Okay.
And
No, no.
then there's one called Lee and his commanders, I think it's called. So I've got that one in my library, which I will listen to soon as well, because
Cool.
that is quite interesting. Is the way Robert Lee manages to manage all of these egos.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, Tyler, there's some strained relationships within that circle.
Just a bit.
You was telling me that great story driving on the flank march one day about the argument between Jackson and Hill, was it, or was it not Hill? I'll get these two mixed up.
Are you talking about Early?
Early, sorry, yeah.
The one that took place because Early was drinking?
Yeah, tell us that story. I want to listen to that
You want
story
to see
again.
that
I love
story
that
again? All
story.
right. So
I love it.
the when Fredericksburg was starting to fold and play out in December of 1862, or November at this point, because Jackson's moving his corps to Fredericksburg from the directions of Winchester all the way into Fredericksburg. It's a pretty long walk, right? And along the way, there's this incident where Jackson will have Early in front, and there will, or I believe Jackson's in front, excuse me, and there's just a kind of a clog in the lines. The lines are not moving down the road as they should. It's a Confederate traffic jam, if you will. There's just too many men on the road, and it's not easy to maneuver. And it's winter, so you're factoring in that there's probably poor roads because of the weather. So there's so many things you can factor into this massive jam in the road. Well, farmers around the area are gonna take absolute joy in this, because here's the time to get rid of some of our whiskey. So they're gonna open some of their sills to the Confederates that are in the roads here. And Jubal Early's men are infamously going to indulge, and some might overindulge. And long story short, there's this correspondence between Early and I believe it's Sandy Pendleton, and something along the effects of Early being asked why his men are still sitting, not doing anything, and Early responds with a very shit-eating grin while he's drunk, probably way more than a man should be at that time. Um, he'll respond with like, well, if Jackson would get a move on, something like that, Jackson's corps is holding this up, then we would be further along. And Jackson would actually place him under arrest for this comment that took place. And eventually the court martial goes kind of out the window when Jackson's daughter is born later on. But yeah, that's a fun little story. Juba
And,
Early.
and I do love that little story. But also, Jackson was a real stickler for the rules, wasn't he? And
Sure was.
what I'm getting, so now we're on to Jackson. You're actually reading something on Jackson lately,
I
is that
am.
right?
Currently, and I have it on me.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. It's very interesting.
I can go through my pile of books if you want to see what I'm reading this next
Oh,
coming weeks.
definitely. I mean, your
All
pile
right.
of books is just amazing.
It's small now because I have bookshelves. It's actually manageable.
Oh, right.
What I'm currently reading is Searching for Stonewall Jackson. That's going to be written by Ben Cleary. I'm not sure how I like it so far. I don't love it and I don't dislike it. I'm just kind of.
So what's it going into?
So it's the book premise is a quest for legacy in a divided America. So initially, I'm over here thinking that this is going to be sort of a new look at Jackson, especially in today's light. But it's really just the author's experience of traveling to places that Jackson had fought at or had done something of note at, and brief history of what happened in these locations. So I haven't really found much of anything crazy worthwhile yet in this book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing
I'm not.
different. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So I'm hoping it turns out to be something different.
Well, sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do.
Ooh, Taz over on Twitch actually asked a really cool question. Give Jackson some lemons and he would be happy. Taz says, what was the shelter for the troops at Fredericksburg in December? Just tense. Good question. Now, when we ask this question, there's 2 to 3 different ways I can set about answering this. One, first of all, if we're talking strictly the battle, the men slept on their arms that night. The Union forces in front of the stone wall had it tremendously worse and were stuck sleeping on their arms, but under fire and under no shelter whatsoever. When they retreated back across the river for the winter quarters period, so from post Battle of Fredericksburg in December all the way to spring of 1863, a lot of the troops built huts out of the wood and would try to build these different shelters, and a lot of makeshift shelters make an appearance at this portion of the war on both sides. So the tents may have been sporadic before the battle, but you're not seeing tents pitched and anything of that significance on the battlefield during the Battle of Fredericksburg at all. There's just troops laying in mass, wounded, killed, or unable to move because of the Confederate fire there on the stone wall. Similar situation happening on the southern end of the battlefield as well. Again, I'm not sure that there were many tents pitched at all, but a very good question. Yeah, no, if there were any tents again, it would have been pretty much the battles preluding the battle, so right before the
Am
battle.
I right in saying, Tyler, as well, the Union did the similar thing over on the like you was just saying, over the other side of the river? Because you've got that Stafford Heights Park, haven't you, or something, where they've
Well,
got an
correct. Yeah, but that's
example?
what I meant by both sides. Both sides are digging
Yeah.
in, making these winter quarters. Almost the Union more significantly, you're looking, like you said, there the 11th Corps camp is actually preserved today, and you can go walk through that. That's the
Mm,
Stafford Civil War Park.
that's
So
it.
that's
Yeah.
where the 11th Corps, the Union Army of the Potomac, are going to have their winter quarters. They're going to have all of this set up in the area today, again preserved under the Stafford Civil War Park. But you look at some of the renditions that they have left today to show you what they lived in, and again, they're log huts, they're little houses. I mean,
Well,
they're and I'm
there's some
reading. That's
fabulous
it's. I'm glad.
pictures. There's some fabulous pictures
Sure.
knocking about. Let me see if I can find one, and I'll send
Yeah.
it to you. You can pop it
Perfect.
up.
One of the books I'm reading as well, which I'm going to show you guys, is actually reading a 2 volume history on the 11th Corps from Chancellorsville to the war's end, and they were talking about there were like almost companies in the regiments that had like competitions to see who could build the cleanest or the easiest like street, and they were calling these things streets. So you could almost like picture how these camps were set up. Taz again writes that I just watched something on winter huts. What happened to the huts when the winter camps broke? Did the area residents tear them down or were they left standing? Another good question. So when Hooker leaves to embark on the Chancellorsville campaign in late April of 1863, they're striking camp, not expected to return to camp. And this could show from Hooker's just confidence that he's going to win this battle upcoming, or whether this is simply just that there is a plan to do something else after this battle transpires, so not to return to this campsite. So basically, yes, they would have been struck. The troops would have torn them down and or left them standing in places. It kind of varies as to what the site was going on. But you also have to consider too that the Union Army also has quite a few forces still left across the river at the time of the Chancellorsville campaign that are going to have some significant happenings in the town itself and the heights around up to Salem Church on the 3rd of May. So there's still a lot going on. So there still might be a lot of camps that are left in place as well. Again, you can talk this even going as far as Hansborough Ridge in Culpeper. There's the Hansborough Ridge that the Union Army, I think it's specifically under the Second Corps under Hancock at the time, and I could be wrong, but this is right before the Battle of the Wilderness, and there was still, even today, evidence of some of the locations of the campsite there that the Confederate or the Union forces had just before the Battle of the Wilderness. So good question there. Darren sent me those things, so I'm going to go ahead and get them up
I mean,
here in a
some of
moment.
them, I think most of them are examples of Union ones. And again, some of I've just picked out a few that I've just found literally just by putting in winter camps, Civil War.
Yeah,
One of
I
them
got
is an
one.
original photograph. Well, a couple of them are, I think.
Yeah, I see
It
him.
just gives you an
And then
idea of
this,
what they would have looked like.
in a moment here.
But also during
Sorry.
that period, from that November all the way round, they don't really leave the two armies, do they? They're literally there
Mm-mm.
until whenever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even after Chancellorsville, they still go back to their camps, don't they? Pretty much.
Yep. Until late April of '63.
Until obviously Lee decides to move his army out and go on the march north. And we all know how that ended.
Yeah, it ended great. Actually, they had a good time. Had lunch and everything. Here we go. There's one, and then the second one I want to show is this one.
Yeah. So I think that's at that park he was talking about. Is that right?
It's either there or Pamplin. Hard to. It's
Yeah,
hard to say.
might be Pamphlet. Yeah.
It looks definitely by the trees to be more like Pamplin. But yeah, no, that's the idea.
Thing is, I've got an answer to that question. So there's another question. It's I can't imagine living outside. I don't even go out when it's cold. But the thing is, these guys are hard. You know, they're not made like us. You know, these guys are harder people. They had probably lived in hardship. They actually probably had worse lives outside of the army.
And Taz, if you like to read a lot about the Civil War, I can point you to a fantastic book. That's Weather, Climate, and the Civil War by Kenneth W. Noe. Fantastic book. and it goes a lot into what kind of you just said there. You would hate to live out there in that. Imagine doing that for 4 years, and it goes through all the different climates and different weather patterns and experiences that the soldiers are going to have to endure it throughout their entire duration of war, or however
Hmm.
long their stay in the army is going to be. But it goes through and details all the different happenings with the weather and what that does to a campaign or what that does to a person when it comes to campaigning and being on the camp. It's just really, really cool. And the book is fantastic. So to kind of piggyback off what Darren said, I would definitely point you to that book if you wanted to kind of broaden your horizons there, especially when it came to weather and having to be outside during the Civil War. The funny
And
thing
again,
about that
yeah,
too,
sorry.
no, you're good. The book, when it writes the first thing, like the like introductory sentences, is that many folks who think or study the Civil War something about not thinking that the war was fought outside,
No.
and we keep
One thing
forgetting that
you've
it
got to
was
bear
an
in mind
outside
is
battle. Like it
a lot
was
of time was spent in camp. They didn't fight battles all the time. The battle is actually a very small percentage of the Civil War soldiers' life. A
right.
lot of their life is spent in that boring camp, and it gets to the point where they're just so bored. I mean, and also they've got diseases running riot. They've got lice to deal with. They've got, I mean, everything. And then, of course, Joe Hooker actually cleans the army up a little bit
Oh,
when it
tremendously
comes
so.
in during the just before the Chancellorsville campaign, doesn't he, Tyler?
He does. He institutes a lot of different things that are going to really boost morale in the Army of the Potomac. He's going to come in, and when he makes it into the armies, when he makes it into command, one of the major things that he does is he installs bread ovens and different types of food for the army. You're no longer living off of the crackers and the breadcrumbs. John McFarland on Facebook just said that reenactment at Cedar Mountain on Sunday, the 7th of August. Cool. The food that's going to be so instrumental to this army being plentiful and in better quality than hardtack or whatever you're eating. Yeah, that's going to be a big boost. He set up hospitals with better medical care, so there's now a better sense of Medicaid or just hygiene and medical care being sent through the camps. You're able to now belong to a corps. So Hooker's going to get rid of that Grand Division system that Burnside implements, and now you have this brand new Corps division system, or this. So you're getting a Corps badge. So if you belong to like the First Division, you're a specific color to the regiment. It's so cool to see what he does with that, and that brings
Hmm.
into the Army this thing called Esprit de Corps. And when he brings in Esprit de Corps, that's going to not only be this huge boost to morale, but it's going to give the soldiers somewhat of a sense of belonging. It's going to give them the feeling of belonging to something great, and that's something I like to highlight, especially when I would give tours of Chancellorsville, is how much Hooker's reorganization of the Army played into making the Army of the Potomac what it was in the later half of the war.
Hmm.
The things that he did to that army, and he was a great military organizer. He organized and put a fighting force behind this army, the likes of which the Army of the Potomac hasn't seen yet under any of the commanders before him, like Burnside and McClellan and whoever had the chance to command that army. So when Hooker comes in, he does something incredible there along the banks of the Rappahannock for real.
And again, I think you get furloughs as well, don't you? During that period, they
You
get
do,
some
yes, you do.
get to go
Indeed.
home and visit their families, and
How
I
good
mean,
is that for morale? If you
I
get
can
to go
imagine some
home,
of them don't want to
sure.
because
Mm-mm.
they've built up a debt with the sutlers. Sorry, and he said settlers.
Sure,
Then your settlers anyway. The sutlers, So out
sure.
of their $13, they should be sending some of that home, and they don't. They end up getting into debt, buying whatever, or even losing it in a card game or whatever. Gambling, whatever. I mean, gambling was rife, and also I was pointing this out at reenactment last weekend. Religion is not massive in the camps at the time either. People think that this is a real religious time. It's not. With inside the camps, there's
Yeah.
actually a lot of people that don't like it.
No, but there is a very large revival in the South. At least the Confederates are
Mhm.
having a religious revival.
So,
One thing that I did like to mention, while Hooker's doing all this good to the army and while he's really revitalizing it, I mean, everything's not all rainbows and tulips. There's some stuff going on too when it comes to a borderline crisis, and that's when Hooker is placed with the task of having to deal with what 20,000 90-day to 3-year or 3-month volunteer guys. Their stuff was coming up. And so this is, I think, what Russia's chancellors will end up happening, and why spring was so much sought after time for campaign, was because he needed to get that big fight in before these enlistments were up.
So is
Just,
that all that
if they
pressure on
don't.
them all the
Mhm.
time, isn't there? And again, the pressure from the Washington. Come on, do something, do something.
That, and then one thing to highlight the good that I found, actually read today, that was really kind of revealing, is that Lincoln actually had sort of put a grace period on returning to the ranks if you were a deserter, giving you a certain date. So if you return, nothing would happen to you. You're pretty much back in the ranks. We'll just pretend it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably had quite a few people come back. I mean, when you have a program like that, so many deserters will somewhat feel that guilt when they leave, that a lot of the diaries will tell us about. And then you have the chance to redeem that by going back and not having anything happen to you, other than maybe the regiment calling you a coward for deserting and leaving your men in a place like that. But with this kind of like grace period, if you will, you now have the ability to come back to the army and bolster some of your ranks with some of the folks who were deserting at one point.
So again, though, we always talk about the Union side of things during this period, but what about the Confederates? So what's conditions like for them? Is it the same?
Virtually. Several of my ancestors enlisted for 9 month stints, but most did not re-enlist. I can't say that I blame them.
No,
No, for not wanting to re-enlist. I mean,
no.
especially after we're looking at that. That's like severe presentism, because I'm looking at that from today. But yeah, I mean, I would.
I mean, some of them have just witnessed Fredericksburg. Would you
Yeah,
want to re-enlist after that?
no, not after Fredericksburg. No, God, no.
No.
You have this scenario too, like with the 11th Corps. The 11th Corps is not even in the vicinity of Fredericksburg during the battle. They're getting close to the area enough to hear the sounds of the battle, and they're almost thinking that there's this huge Union victory at first because of the sounds. And then when the wounded start to trickle back, and you see the wounded walking, limping, and horse carts, and the whole 9 yards, then you start to realize the reality of the situation, that the Union Army just suffered a decimating defeat. And it's going to take a toll on them too, even though they weren't there, because it's just the morale of knowing that your army just got manhandled in front of the heights here. It's not a good feeling.
Oh, that reminds me of something to do with Fredericksburg. Have you still got that picture that you got sent? Do you know
Picture.
what I mean?
Yes, but it's too big of a file to put on this
Oh, you
screen.
can't do it. Okay, fair enough. That was just goosebump time. Fair enough.
300,000 Bibles were given to the Confederate Army during the war. That is from Kojak on Twitch. Thank you, Kojak. 300,000 Bibles. It's a lot.
Thing is, I think the community in the South is was more based around religion, wasn't it? Do you not think?
Yeah.
Before the start of the war.
I think one got a ball in a forehead at Fredericksburg. Ball was never removed, but he lived until 1899, I think.
Wow.
God, that sucks, having a bullet in
Yeah.
your head. Yeah, no kidding.
Great story to tell the grandkids, though.
Yeah, and it's just like, you see this thing
Yeah,
here.
look
This
at
is a
this.
bullet.
Look. Yeah, you can touch it. Oh, no,
Yeah.
not too hard.
This right here, this is a bullet in my head.
Whoa. That's amazing.
That's nuts. But yeah, that's another thing to think about too, I guess, is like some of the things Fredericksburg leaves people with. Like you just said, you left somebody with a bullet in their head until 1899. Some people limbless, some people scarred mentally from what they saw at Fredericksburg. Darren, you were you did we do Chancellorsville at all when you were here?
Trying to think now. We did. I think. Well, we did the flank march, didn't we? But I don't think we really covered the actual Battle of Chancellorsville properly.
Yeah, we need to do this.
We did the flank march, and we started at the bivouac site. I nearly said the
You
wrong
almost
word.
said it. I know. I
I'm
heard it
sorry.
coming.
I'm sorry. But it's somebody's fault. Somebody said that word wrong. Anyway, you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen,
And
what
now
it's
you're
been
stuck
called in
with it.
jokes. Anyway. Anyway, the Biv wank site.
You said it. You said it.
But yeah, we started there, and
Oh, you said
he
it,
took me on this amazing.
dude.
Do you know the bit that got me is when we went to Catherine's furnace and you told me about the bear.
That
You went,
was
it's not
not
funny now,
fun.
is it? Because I was taking the Michael out of you and Nathan. And Nathan, you'll remember this if you're still watching.
Oh,
But
that was at Spotsylvania.
no, this was, I know that was at Spotsylvania. But when we got out of Catherine's furnace, you said, oh, yeah, there's bears around here as well. Like that. You said, you've got to be careful. If you see one, just follow me and don't run. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember this, but you did. We walked up like a little bit behind the furnace.
No. Oh, yeah. I told you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry if
anyway,
there's a
he
bear.
wound me up, Nate. And all of a sudden the joke wasn't funny anymore. And you got to bear in mind, I come from a place where the wildest thing in the woods is a weirdo walking about. So
And then here you're like, oh yeah, there's just a bear sitting right here.
now if I was in Nate's position, I would have absolutely crapped myself. I mean, yeah, I don't do well with that sort of thing.
You get used to it after a while.
Yeah, I expect you do.
It just at first, man, like when I was living there and I had that bear in my trash can.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a whole bear in the trash can.
Joking.
No, it was so serious. There was a whole bear in the trash can, dude. And I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
Taz,
anyway, going back to the flank march, it was an amazing experience. I
I'm
always
glad you were
wanted
able
to
to
do
do
that, and
that.
I'm so glad you managed to take me on that. But I think what we did is we did like bits of Chancellorsville along the road as we went back towards Fredericksburg. So we didn't really go into it like proper.
Yeah.
You know, I think you like pointed out. Obviously, I know where we did go. We went to not Hazel. Where's Hazel Grove? Is it?
Hazel Grove and Fairview. Yeah, we did do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was
good.
amazing. That gave me goosebumps. That was like, whoa. And now I'm annoyed we never done a video up there, actually.
I know we're gonna have to do that when you come back.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can indeed visit Jackson's
and I never
Arm.
visited that either.
You can indeed. If you go to the Elwood Manor out in
Elwood,
Orange
yeah.
County, there is an arm supposedly buried in the back of the property, and that arm belongs to Stonewall. So if you happen to be in the area,
And if you want to shake his hand, there you go.
you can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know why. Why did we never go to Elwood? I can't remember.
Because I didn't really feel the need
No,
out of all the time we
no,
had to show you
no,
Jackson's
yeah.
arm. Like
I
it's
did get shown
weird
some
and like
amazing
as neat, I guess, as it is to know that that exists. I'm more so was trying to cram in all the important battle stuff that
Yes,
I know you would want to see, not be
yes.
like, hey, by the way, Jackson's arm is there.
And I mean, the thing is as well, me and Tyler got distracted a few times on the battlefields because we met some amazing people, that would come up and talk to Tyler, and of course Tyler is so knowledgeable about these battlefields. They soon realised how knowledgeable he was, and the next thing we're all on a tour with Tyler. So, I mean, we did that at Spotsylvania. We met that guy. Was his name Ted or something? I can't remember his name.
Ted.
Lovely
He met
guy.
us. Yeah, he came and met us at Antietam too. A couple days later.
He's a lovely guy.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope to run into him again soon. He was cool.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he was amazing. Yeah, he lives in the up in Maryland, doesn't he? I think
near Antietam.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, Antietam was just goosebumps all day long.
I know. I need to get back up there soon.
All day long. And just standing there on that ground, just wow.
It was something else, wasn't it?
Wow. Yeah, I loved it.
Me too, mate. It was. I'm glad we got to have that week, dude, because it meant a lot to be able to spend time with you and actually enjoy a battlefield like that and go out and
it won't be the last
perspective.
time.
No, not at all.
There'll be loads of opportunities. I've just got to, become a millionaire. But
there's just that one little part,
Yeah,
got to be a millionaire first.
But I tell you what, if I did, we'd be visiting every single battlefield, every single one.
I'm for it, man.
There you go. It's not going to happen, mate. So
I know.
That's my dream.
That's your dream?
Yeah. Could you imagine us standing in Vicksburg, Oh, wow.
I got to finish going through my book pile. We haven't done that yet. I got one book.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah. I forgot about that. It was a 20-minute.
Did you know that Tyler carries a rucksack around with him with his books in?
I do.
And then you go and sit in Tyler's car and in the
And
back
there's
is a
more
library.
books. No, now it's
I mean,
jackets.
jackets and books. I mean, I had to
Yeah,
actually sit on them one night because there was no room to sit on the seat. I still put my seatbelt on and managed to do that.
that's good.
But also, there's all sorts in there.
This is the
Oh
next
yes,
one.
that looks
Yes,
like a cool book.
it is. Since it's Gettysburg's Peach
The
Orchard
Peach
by
Orchard,
James
yeah,
Hessler and Britt
one of my favourite
Eisenberg.
stories of Gettysburg.
Mine too. And since I was just up there, I wanted to read something, and I had this book at home. So by the way, I went to Gettysburg and did not buy a book.
Well, it's probably because you didn't have time.
Didn't have time and just didn't actually.
I have heard there's a very good second-hand bookstore there.
There is, and I did everything in my power not to go this time. I hate that I
And
didn't
so,
go, but I'll be
yeah,
back later this year, so don't worry.
yeah.
We'll be back.
But again, I do love that Peach
The
Orchard.
next one. Freedom National, The Destruction of Slavery in the United States, 1861 to 1865 by James Oakes.
Fair enough.
So far, a fantastic book. I'm about
Yep.
58 pages into it, and I like every bit of it so far.
I have a recommendation if you're interested in that. There's one called Slavery. Oh, what's it called? It's written by an American, but he's here in Britain at Durham University at the moment.
Okay.
What's it called? It's called Slavery Goes West or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It's very good. It looks very good. I haven't read it.
This is the next two, because it's a 2-volume set. It's not just a 1-volume. This is Under the Crescent Moon, Under the 11th Corps in the Civil War, Volume 1, From Defenses of Washington to Chancellorsville. And then Volume 2 is From Gettysburg to Victory, 1863 to 1865. And that's the cover there. That is my summer list.
I like the picture on the front there. That's the...
over the Evergreen Cemetery Gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the 11th.
The thing is, when you stand up there, you can't imagine the carnage that would have been around them.
No, and I'm starting to feel bad for the 11th Corps. For what happens at both Chancellorsville and Gettysburg. Like, they just have a really bad couple months.
But
so
I'm so excited now that we're going to do, literally, guys, I promise you, we're going to go to Gettysburg really early on the Thursday morning, and we are going to go to all the important spots. We're going to be standing and doing live videos from all the important spots.
I think we should give the 11th Corps some love when we go to Gettysburg.
We'll give them some. But I am desperate to stand where Dan Sickles did. Because the thing is, right, this is the thing. When I went in 2007, I didn't understand the battle properly. So I didn't go to that part. I went around the battlefield, yes, but I didn't go to that part, you know. So for me, I need to do that. That's on my bucket list.
We can do that.
You know, I've done the 20th Main stuff, you know, I've done all that, and it's interesting, don't get me wrong, but I want to go and stand where Dan Sickles stood.
Sounds like a plan to me.
And where he lost his leg. Well, didn't lose it. Just got
perhaps, and there's I don't, again, can't point the trajectory to this, but there's a good chance my ancestor, his battery was the reason his leg got obliterated, because they're shooting into Sickles' position there at the Trossel Barn.
That's another thing we're going to do. Your ancestors' last cannon shot or cannon.
South Cavalry Field, Fairfield, and Monterey Pass. Yes, sir. I haven't done those yet. That's another thing I need to do when I get to Gettysburg, is do a lot of the lesser hit sites. And Tattooed Historian showed me something really cool at Gettysburg too that I've never seen, and that was the aid station over there by the wheat field.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's
and there's a rock that was used as a surgery table that's still there.
No way!
Yeah, dude, it was.
I need to see this.
And it no one ever gets to see it because the Irish Brigade monument's right in front of it. So everybody goes to see the Irish Brigade monument, which understandably so. It's a beautiful monument. But over there on the other side of the road, you go back behind another monument, and there's a rock that has the plaque that shows that this was an aid station, and they said that there was a table used by surgeons.
I would rather go and look at a rock.
Yeah, that rock's pretty cool, dude. Like, especially one that was used as a surgery table. Like, you can just look right on the ground, and that rock's right there.
Oh my god, I'm so excited!
Yeah, man, Gettysburg's an awesome place.
It is just. It's a civil war on steroids.
Yeah, that's a good.
It is, but it's so nice, isn't it? You know.
Ooh, Noel Harrison over on Facebook.
Oh, hello, Noel. Nice to
He
see you
said
again, mate.
maybe also a Germana Ford, Raccoon Ford area and Cedar Mountain while you're out that way circuit for Darren, since I recall that his regulars reached the Army of the Potomac in the area of Raccoon Ford.
We've got to go there.
Okay, yeah. And then we have Kojak. Lost Avenue at Gettysburg is a must visit. I have not gotten to do the entirety of Lost Avenue yet. I really want to. I almost did one of the times I was up there a few years ago, but never had the chance to go all the way down. So that's definitely on my list of things to do at Gettysburg for sure.
And then the other one is the railway cut. I've not been to that either.
You have not been to the rail cut.
No. I went past it on a bus, like, with the tour.
That and so where John took me, I've never been to as many times as I've been on Day One's battlefield. I've never been to the McPherson barn ever.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
we
that's
stood
the
down
first day's fighting, isn't it?
that is the first
Yeah.
day's fight. We stayed down at the McPherson barn, man, and we did our video there. And
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, I could. What you couldn't see on camera was the view I had that was behind the camera was all the way up to the seminary.
Oh my
I know, dude.
God.
I
You had
know.
goosebumps.
I was. It was hard. Like I was trying to focus on the camera, and I kept looking. I'm just like, right in front of me is the freaking seminary. I look to the left, and I see the railroad cut. I can see Oak Hill because I can see the flame from the freaking Peace Light Memorial just burning through
Oh,
the trees.
man.
You then see a train going through the railroad, so you can see where the railroad is across the field that the Mississippians would have been in it. Dude, I know that was, and then like it really, really, really made the night even cooler is when we went to leave and we turned around, the sun was down, and there were thousands, and I'm not kidding when I say thousands of fireflies, and you could just see them lighting up the battlefield in the woods. You could see little lights flashing, and I told John, I'm like, oh, probably what muskets look like at night, man. Just like walking through and seeing.
That's their soul. That's all their lost souls out there. That is. That's what I would think.
It was just really, really unique to see that, and I was like, man, this is so cool to be.
Well, maybe we can get Mr. John Heckman to come out with us too.
I think we should.
And maybe even go to a little Irish pub.
Oh, the Gary Owen, maybe that place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Darren, I think this was another very successful episode. That was way too loud. I appreciate you coming on late at night.
Yeah, I don't mind.
It's only
And
7:50 here, so we're not too bad time wise. But you over there, it's late.
Yeah, you'll be getting lots more of this, guys. There's lots coming
Yeah.
up. We've got lots planned. We have got something huge planned for the new year, but I'm not going to tell you anymore. And it's going to be huge.
I'm very excited about this. This is
Everyone
exciting.
involved.
Kojak also came in last minute there saying the Hunter's Town for the Custer Monument. Okay. Good to know.
Again, guys, we will be at the symposium this year as well, and we will be doing some behind the scenes stuff. So we'll be getting some pretty cool interviews.
How long is the drive from Fredericksburg to Gettysburg?
It's about 2 hours, 2.5, 3?
2.5, about 2.5. The way I took was 2.5. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it depends which way you go, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, it does. It all depends
You
on
can go
which route
two
you
different
take up
ways.
there.
Well, you can go a few ways, can't you?
You can. Alrighty, folks.
Okay.
Well,
it's been
I hope you
absolute
guys
pleasure.
have a great week. We will see you next Sunday for another one of these conversations that we have. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your viewership, and we hope to see you again soon.